We welcome in our staff statistician, the king of the calculator, Clint Fowler. Good to have you on hand, hanging out with us at Budds Creek over the weekend. So you saw what we saw. It looked like it was going to be another cruise in Moto number 2 for Jett Lawrence, and then the mega charge from Chase Sexton. So this is kind of what we've seen since Sexton returned from injury at Redbud. Clinton, can he be the spoiler? This is really going to be interesting going into the final round.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a full season of seeing kind of the same thing play out here. You go back to the Supercross season, he made 7 rounds. He had mistakes that cost him 35 points. He did win, obviously won that championship fair and square, but he made it hard on himself, right? And he's continued to do that with Pro Motocross. He's had 14 motos that he's been back. He's made 7 mistakes, or seven motos with mistakes. Those are just costly. We're looking at his full season. He's now had mistakes in 14 of the 31 races he's lined up against, JT. I mean, it's just one thing after another, and it seems like clockwork that we can expect him to put it on the ground, unfortunately. What do you think it is? Is it mental? Is it the bike? Is it just a combination of all those things?
Yeah, I think it's both, right? He believes that he has a problem with losing front end traction, right? And I think that becomes, on some level, a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think something is going to happen and you think there is a liability, oftentimes you're going to find that problem, whether you're looking for it or not, because you are expecting that to happen. So he has had a phenomenal season. This has been the one rub of the entire year, is that when he gets into these moments, he tends to make a mistake. And you can look back at Supercross, like his crash at Oakland comes to mind, and then all these mistakes through Pro Motocross as well. It's been the same dynamic over and over and over. And yeah, it's probably kept him from winning a moto this summer, right? He still has 2 opportunities left. But I think it's both. I think there is a tendency with his setup, whether it's the Honda itself or his particular setting on the Honda. And then now it's happened so many times that I think he is kind of leaning into it. Like, he expects it to happen, and then it happens more often than it should.
Yeah, 14 times. Basically half the races he's been in, he's made a mistake. And we're not even counting, he had a front-end tip-over washout in practice as well at Budds Creek. So yeah, it looked like a race we've seen before. Maybe Sexton can do it. Crashes, it's over. Except those final laps of Moto 2. Clinton, I think way back in like February, he said maybe Sexton just needs to go so fast that he can still win with crashing, and it almost happened.
You know, I had forgotten about that, Weech, but I did say that. In Moto 2 was very much that way, right? He's sitting there, the first 5 laps of that race, you could really throw a blanket over him. Those guys were running 1-2. Unfortunately, lap 6, that crash costs him 6 seconds. Ultimately, you fast forward to the last 5 laps of the race. Jett's got an 8-second lead. And that is interesting. That's where Chase starts to capitalize. Laps 14 and 15, he's able to cut 3.5 seconds out. He just kept charging and charging. And you can look at the lap time ranks, and you can see that Jett started to play it safe. He started to back it down a little bit. If you watch the race, you can see him start to look back, look behind him on the track. Jett's lap time ranks went to 4th in lap 14 and 9th in lap 15. So he really backed it down a lot. And then obviously he brings it back. Chase starts to put the pressure on the last 2 laps of the race. Chase is the fastest in both laps. Jett's the second fastest, but Chase is still able to cut out another 4 seconds and make it really close at the end. JT, it's really interesting now to think about how much pressure Jett's going to have to make this a complete streak of the season, and a guy like Sexton just being the spoiler or the potential spoiler.
I think that's the way he'll be entering Ironman. I think he still believes he can steal a moto win. This isn't very far away from where he grew up. He'll have a lot of friends and family there. And I think it's a pride thing. It's an SMX playoffs thing. And it's also setting themselves up for who's going to be the dominant guy for the next 5 to 7 years. I think that's what's at stake in this little microcosm of a weekend going into Ironman.
Yeah, and I want to clarify on the podium, Jett thought that he was the only one that had to roll a jump with the red lights on and the red cross. Turned out that Sexton did have to roll that too. The lap traffic did not do Jett any favors, but it just sets up a grand finale where at least Sexton thinks he can get the guy, and Jett already knows he can because he's done it 20 times to this field already. So it's going to be fun. The calculator is going to be burning up with these lap times this weekend, Clint.
They're going to get a workout for sure in Ironman. I'm looking forward to it, Weech.
All right, we're headed to Ironman Raceway. Come join us. And if you can't join us in person, we'll have the coverage, of course, all the motos on Peacock or the Super Motocross Video Pass if you're outside the United States. Race Day Live presented by motorsport.com at 10 a.m. Eastern on Saturday, and then we'll go racing starting at 1 o'clock, and we'll stay on the air straight through.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.